Good morning. Today is Thursday, August 22nd of 2024, and we have a special program for you right here on WLIJ. Today we have CEO of TWHBEA, Mark Farrar, alongside Scott Johnson. Scott, take it away.
Thank you, sir. This is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting here in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Bedford County, about 50 miles south of Nashville, 30 miles south of, 25 miles south of Murfreesboro, in the lovely rolling and cooled off Green Hills of southern middle Tennessee.
And just about over 7 miles, we're just right outside of Flat Creek.
Mark, I don't even think it's 7 miles, is it?
Maybe 6.
How was the traffic coming in from Flat Creek today?
This was the best commute to work I've had in a while.
Folks, we have Mark Farrar, the Chief Executive Officer for the Tennessee Walking Horse Breeders and Exhibitors Association here today to talk a little bit about their organization. They're headquartered over in Lewisburg. But Mark, well, good morning.
Good morning.
And congratulations on that commute from Flat Creek to right here off Highway 82. We actually talk about Flat Creek Highway traffic just about every day I come in here. So yeah. It was actually a lot of traffic today, though.
Man, there was traffic last night. So the horse show ended, I think, about 11:15 last night. And when I was
there a lot of traffic going home?
Oh yeah, there was traffic going home, and there was an incident. I mean, there were blue lights at the end of my road when I got home. So
what?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but it was
that's kind of a quiet area out there normally.
Yeah.
Out in Flat Creek amongst the Farrar compounds out there down there. But anyway, Mark, of course, I know you've been involved and your family's been involved with the walking horse industry. Golly, since it started in 1939. Why don't you tell the listening audience a little bit about your relationship to the walking horse industry?
Yeah, well, so I was born in July, right before the celebration. So I've been to all of them. I don't remember the first one I attended.
But you were there.
1973, but I was there.
Yeah, because your daddy and mama were both working there, and your granddaddy. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my great granddad was one of the four people who are considered founders of the celebration, Clyde Tune, and then my granddad was a big part of it and on the board and executive secretary when I was a kid. He was executive secretary till the early 80s, I think, and so of course when I was a kid, and then my dad was a ringmaster for 40-something years. My mom helped in center ring. I mean, as you know, it's still
you kind of grew up in center ring then.
Yeah, I did. I remember when I was a kid, Earl Gregory was the organist, and he had a little thing on his organ. You could just go. It went when you ran your finger across.
You didn't do that.
He would let me sit there. And, he would tell me when to do it. I don't have the musical inclination to just decide arbitrarily when to do it. He would let me sit there.
Yeah, you do not have that job right now at the celebration. You are not the organist.
No, I am not. Nobody would want that. I took piano lessons. I remember 2 songs. I could play the national anthem and the wedding march. People would get tired of hearing it by the end of the
we do use one of those. We don't really use the other one that much. That's a celebration. But yeah. And I know and of course, obviously your family's involved with that and has been forever. Well, from the beginning, 1939. But even yourself, you've had a career in announcing horse shows. I mean, you announced a lot of different breeds over the years, right? I mean, you travel all over the country.
Yeah, I have, and I've announced horse shows. Honestly, since I was like 15 years old, and I'm 51.
15?
Yeah, so however long that makes it. I mean, it's been a long time. My first
You just made me feel old.
Well, my first horse show was the Bedford County 4-H horse show, and it was in the outdoor warm-up ring there at the celebration grounds, and I couldn't drive myself. My granddad took me over there.
But you were the announcer.
But I was the announcer.
Okay.
And now I've certainly, for somebody who just loves horse shows and show horses, I've got front row seat to some of the very best there are. I mean,
you got the best seat in the house.
I do. I mean, I get the celebration this week, and then I've been at the Kentucky State Fair, the World's Championship Horse Show for the Saddlebreds since Saturday, and I'll actually be back up there Friday morning and Saturday morning to finish them up, and then be at the celebration at night. And then Morgan Grand Nationals. I'm really fortunate that I get to see some of the best horses. It's exhausting, but man, when you love it, I don't know how to say no. I don't want to miss it.
Well, I know that, and of course of your knowledge of the industry, especially here in the walking horse industry, and of course you know who all the owners and trainers are. and obviously going to exhibit it. And you're the night show announcer at the Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration, right?
Yep.
You're the guy in center ring everybody listens to.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they don't listen to me until I make. Charlie Mack will tell you they don't listen to me until I make a mistake or say something wrong, and then we hear about it.
And then they give us feedback, right?
Yeah, then we get feedback.
In a heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know folks appreciate you. We get compliments all the time on the Celebration Board of Directors about what you do out there, Mark. So we appreciate that. So now let's talk about your current job and what you're doing and how that relates to the walking horse industry. You're obviously the Chief Executive Officer of the Tennessee Walking Horse Breeders and Exhibitors Association. Why don't you explain a little bit what that is, Mark?
So, TWHBEA started in 1935. So at that point,
before the celebration,
and remind me. Let me go ahead and tell that story before I forget it. Somebody showed me the town minutes in Lewisburg from 1930. It might have been 38, like the year before the celebration started. But anyway, when Henry Davis appeared before him with the idea of having the celebration
in Lewisburg,
and that's kind of where all this is in their minutes. This is kind of where all the breed was already there, the registries are there, and they said, "Man, we want to have a celebration, and this would make sense." And they said, "Man, it's going to bring in traffic and people and maybe some flies and whatever." But no, we don't want that.
So they really didn't have the foresight to understand all the economic benefit that we get here in Shelbyville, which is a lot. It's in the millions.
It's in the millions.
No kidding. That's interesting. You found that there. Yeah. Well, Lewisburg, thank you all in Lewisburg, and I know you can hear us over there. We appreciate you.
I don't know that anybody there today would want to take credit or blame for that, but
we appreciate him turning us down. Appreciate him turning us down, though.
Things work out for a reason. So whatever that reason.
But but you guys are obviously headquartered and got a great facility over there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the walking horse, mid 1800s is kind of when the breed was getting started, and people were really shopping for these pleasure type horses that had that smooth ride, and they could ride to town, they could work on the farm with, and
it was kind of about the gait and the smooth ride, being able to ride them all day because folks didn't have cars.
Right, and that started in the 1850s, 1860s, and by 1935, these horses were so sought out and they were so popular, and people were breeding to produce these horses that some gentlemen got together standing on the town square in Marshall County in Lewisburg and said, "Man, we need to start a registry for these horses and kind of get this organized," and that's what they did in 1935, and since then we've registered about 600,000 plus horses.
How many? 60,000?
600,000 plus.
No kidding. Walking horses,
and you're
a worldwide registry, right?
That's they're in all 50 states and in 29 different countries.
Okay.
And every one of those registration applications comes right into Lewisburg, Tennessee, and every one of those.
It doesn't matter if it's from Germany or Germantown.
Right, exactly, yeah. And every one of the sets of registration papers, say Lewisburg, Tennessee on them, and are mailed out from right there to really all over the world. And it's amazing. When I'm done with the celebration in 2 weeks, I'll be going to Germany for our European championships. So, and then we've still got our Mexico championships to go later this year. So it's something that's catching on all
worldwide.
Over the world. Yeah,
from Lewisburg,
all from Lewisburg, Tennessee.
Good deal. Well, it's great that you guys started there and you're still there.
Yep.
And I know the local folks appreciate that over there. And you got a great facility over there. What a great, it's like a special event venue.
Steve Smith, talks about it. He says, when you pull up, this is what a worldwide headquarters should look like.
Yeah. You know what? Steve's right. I hadn't thought about that, but it does impress you that way.
Yeah, it does. It said this is what a worldwide headquarters should look like. And of course, we've got an auditorium that, we make available to our members and people in the industry, but also, for community events as well. The local Chamber of Commerce uses it, and whoever. So we're glad to share that as well. But yeah, we're real proud of it. It's a beautiful place, and we display all the World Grand Champion portraits when you come in, and there's a lot of history in there.
It's a lovely facility, and absolutely there's a lot of history there. And of course, now looking at Tennessee Walking Horses, and I guess you guys have about 5 different areas. I know that there's trail, sport utility, flat shot and performance, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys do that way, or is...
So we kind of break it up, kind of by like the way we have our vice president set up on our executive committee.
Okay.
But, whether it is, performance or flat shot, we consider all of those show horses.
Okay.
They are horses that you're going to show.
They're shown in the same shows.
They're
just
showing,
different classes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we consider all of those show horses.
Okay.
So that's one segment, and that's about 15% of our breed is show horses. Then of course we've got the horses that are used for breeding, and the brood mares, the sires, all of that, and that comes in our membership and registry. We'll call it a silo. I know people say, don't silo things. But anyway, that's what it is. But our membership and registry committee takes care of that. Then trail and versatility is really big for us. I mean, is that
the largest segment?
I would say so.
Other registrations? Yeah,
of course, other than registrations. But yeah, these horses are very popular for trail horses, and it's unbelievable. That's what I think most people want them for. Even if they show them, a lot of people want to go trail riding with them too.
They're actually using them.
Oh yeah. They're
just not putting them in a show ring.
And they've become real popular in field trials and things like that. And versatility, I would also consider kind of just our non-traditional show ring stuff. So like Western dressage. I mean, our horses are doing incredible in Western dressage. I mean, it was walking.
Explain to our listening audience what Western dressage is.
So
well, I mean, just a short.
Well, if you watch the Olympics, that's dressage. I mean,
okay.
They had the jumping and they had the dressage.
Right.
And there's different tests that the horses do, and it's based on
a skills test, right?
Yeah, and they memorize like kind of a test or some might call it a pattern, but and they judge the horse and the rider not only on their ability to do it, but their ability to do the transitions and do it well. And Western traditional dressage is mainly what people are accustomed to, which is like in English riding clothes and English tack, and that's what you see in the Olympics.
Western hunter jumpers, things like that.
Western dressage has taken off recently, and it was walking horses were winning world championships in it last year. In fact, the U.S. Equestrian Federation Western Dressage Horses of the Year that they honor, there was a walking horse that won one of those awards the last 2 years.
Okay.
So it's something that we've figured out our breed can really excel at.
Obviously a popular breed. Folks, we're talking to Mark Farrar, the Chief Executive Officer of the Tennessee Walking Horse Breeders and Exhibitors Association. We're going to take a 60-second break and be right back.
Shopping for home furnishings doesn't have to be a chore. You want to shop with a name you can trust, who has the better buy for both durability and affordability. Well, good news for folks of Middle Tennessee. There's a hometown source to get you the top brands for less, with wide selection, multiple financing options available, and best of all, honest folks that care for their customers with friendly and helpful customer service. Who's that, you ask? Well, any Shelbyville local can tell you it's gotta be Kincaid's. Kincaid's is a brand source store with $19 billion of buying power. That means you'll be getting the very best value. That's Kincaid Service Company, where service has been their middle name since 1934. Come browse their 11,000 square foot showroom today at 400 Madison Street, or give them a call at 931-684-5662. You can also follow them on Facebook and check out all their selection online at kincaidservice.com. 931-684-5662.
This is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Bedford County. We're talking to Mark Farrar, the CEO of the Tennessee Walking Horse Breeders and Exhibitors Association, about various things that TWHBEA is involved in, their history, and what they do. Now, Mark, you've got... I assume you guys have a board of directors, just kind of like Celebration does, right?
Right. And, I was kind of telling you, where our different vice presidents, work with membership and registry and show horse and trail and versatility. Then we've got them that oversee. We've got a marketing committee. We've got an international committee, which, no surprise, we talked about our
So you have board members from overseas?
Stuff. Yep. We have board members, executive committee member from Germany. We've got a trainers committee and a trainers VP that's kind of our liaison between us and the Walking Horse Trainers Association. We've got advocacy, so that just takes care of a lot of legislative concerns and pretty much just advocates for the welfare of the horse and takes care of if there's things for horse rescues that we can help with. They're the ones who kind of step in and do that. So, it's a really good board. The executive committee, kind of takes care of all those vice president slots, and they meet, most months, and then our big international board, which is from all over the world, meets, twice a year. They meet every December and May.
Okay. Well, give us some stats about what you guys have going on out there at TWHBEA, Mark.
Yeah. So, we were talking earlier that, going into the celebration, all of the celebration stats that would point to a successful year were there. I mean, the increase in entries and increase in box seats and increase in sponsorships and all of that. It's kind of the same for us. I mean, the walking horse industry is strong. I mean, we're showing an increase year over year right now in registrations and leases are up. Our memberships.
That's another good indicator, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, our memberships right now are at a 5-year high. And we finished last year in that same way. So, those are all good indicators. So a couple of stats, just one that I think is really interesting. So, I told you about 600,000 horses have been registered, over the lifetime of our association. 234,418 are the horses that are alive today somewhere in the world. There's 234,000 walking horses. One of the stats that always surprises people, and I talked about this last night at the celebration. Celebration has what they call a classic horse, and anytime a horse that's 15 or older gets a ribbon, we recognize them because that's maybe people who only go to walking horse shows take it for granted that horses are showing at that level at 15 years of age, but that's very uncommon. And I believe there's 70.
We need to start using that term for older people. They're classic people. Just saying. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark. I interrupted you.
Well, so I think there's 70-something classic horses entered in the celebration this year.
Okay.
And a lot of people
are 15 years or older.
Yeah, 15 or older. And people are surprised by that. And the average age of a Tennessee walking horse, when we look at those 234,000 that are alive today, the average age is 20 years old, which is pretty high, especially. That doesn't mean they're competing, but 8 years of age is the average age of the horses that are competing in the show ring right now.
Okay.
And if you think about, race horses and stuff like that really peak, as young horses. And then I was at a meeting not long ago with a lot of equine groups, and they were talking about it's a big concern to find second and third careers and stuff for some of these horses after they finish racing because they're still useful and can do other things. And I sat there and it kind of dawned on me, man, we kind of take that for granted because first of all, ours can compete for a long time, but those second and third and fourth careers aren't any problem because they get through in the show ring. A lot of people want to trail ride with them. A lot of people use them for like their field trial mounts when they do field trial stuff because the walking horses have like a really good gait to keep up with the dogs and stuff, especially when they go on point and you want to canter and catch up to them. Mounted patrols seek out walking horses to use.
I've seen many police departments with that.
Yeah,
sheriff's departments. Yeah, walking horses.
So we're really lucky that our horses have such a long lifespan and a useful life, which is of course a testament, I think, to not only the breed but the care that they receive. And
absolutely.
That's one.
It wouldn't be there without the care.
Yeah. Well, and now, you don't see a lot of these, but one of the things I always ask them to look at in the office is like go back and look at last year's show records and tell me what was the oldest horse that competed. Last year, 2023 show season, the oldest competing walking horse was 32 years of age, and I believe it might have been doing barrel racing.
A barrel racing walking horse.
It was this year or the year before because I called and talked to the lady and I said, I'd love to talk to you about your horse that's 32 and still showing. That's just unbelievable. And she said, I've always done like barrels and pole bending and stuff with this horse. And she said when he was like 25, I felt kind of bad and thought, man, this horse, is ready to retire, needs a break. And so she was leaving it home, well, the horse quit eating. The horse was just, pretty much ended up being depressed because all its friends were leaving to go to the horse show and it wasn't. And so she decided, like, I'm going to at least once a year, twice a year, I'm going to take it with us. And she said it made all the difference. The horse started eating again. The horse is happy again and just doing its job. It's loving it.
And of course, my wife and I used to do the Grace Charge Therapeutic Riding Program here in Bedford County, and that's for special needs kids to come out and ride. And of course, you got to have really good, well-trained, and gentle horses to do that. We had one walking horse, I think, that was 40 years old that an owner brought, and that you could tell the horse just loved doing it. Would go out and take the kids around and stuff, but I believe it was right at 40 years old.
I believe it. One of the things somebody sent me recently, people send me a lot of history and kind of trivia stuff before the celebration, which I really appreciate because I'm not as old as you, so I hadn't been there for as many.
Thanks for reminding me, Mark. Yeah, I'm a classic.
You're a classic. y'all need to designate that as your classic board members of the celebration.
Ouch.
But somebody sent me a thing where the talk of the town. There's been a lot of talk right now because we've got three-time world grand champions. Justified Honors, the current one, is a three-timer.
Right.
I Am Jose was the most recent one before Justified Honors. And then before that, you had to go back to the 50s when the Talk of the Town won it 3 times.
Okay.
And then the Talk of the Town, after winning it in the 50s, came back like 30-something years of age in the early 80s, I think, and exhibited at the celebration. That's amazing to me. I want to find a picture or a video or something so bad of that now that I've learned about it.
Well, and it is a true test. You mentioned this a little bit ago, how well these horses are taken care of. They're basically athletes,
right?
And they're well taken care of, and that's, I think, why this breed has longevity like it does.
Right, and I'll tell you another thing that's really, I think, held the walking horse industry together and been crucial to our success is that we have so many smaller operations. Yes, there's some big breeding operations and stuff like that, but there were 635 different stallions last year that bred to mares and that turned into stallion breeding reports.
Okay.
635. In comparison, a lot of breeds, show horse breeds that also report these numbers, they're more around the 200 range. Now, of the 635, I'm going to say 97% of those only bred to 1 or 2 mares. It's people that still have these horses at home, that are still breeding it to a mare that they have there on their farm, that want to get a good colt or two that they can sell or use on the farm or whatever. And it's that's really kind of the backbone of what we do. It's amazing that we've been able to hold on to that, just kind of like we've been able to hold on to like one night horse shows and things that a lot of breeds haven't. A lot of breeds have gone there. They're all multi-night. They're all indoors and maybe for profit, but ours are all still these one night horse shows that local civic groups and charities put on and hope to pay for whatever they're going to do charitably for the next year. That's how they're going to fund what they're going to do.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mark, because we talked with Warren Wells on the air yesterday, the CEO of the celebration, about all the different nonprofits that raise half their revenue at the celebration during those 11 nights. But you make a good point. There are so many shows, and most of them are in the Southeast, but there are so many shows, and they're put on by nonprofits that are putting money back into their communities to benefit their local residents. There are very, very few that are for-profit, I think. They're almost all nonprofit.
Oh, yeah. That's unheard of in the
other breeds.
In other breeds. It really is.
And you're familiar with other breeds. Yeah. You've done a lot of announcing and stuff. So thanks for mentioning that, Mark, because I think some of our folks not that familiar with the breed and don't understand that that's been a tradition in the Southeast for, a long time.
Well, and you think about it, there was I talked to somebody from the Lions Club International. This has probably been 5 or 6 years ago, but they were telling me at that time the Lions Club really had a whole lot of horse shows. You think about it, like just around here, the Woodbury Lions Club and stuff like that. They put on some of the bigger shows, and their whole mission is sight. They do sight testing in schools and provide glasses for people.
Do a great job going back into schools.
Yeah, and they they help different centers and houses that help blind people, and whatever. That's their whole mission. And that guy said, man, they've talked about it at their national and international level, like how much horse shows have benefited their mission to improve sight for people and
enhance local communities.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, just think around here, the Shelbyville High School tennis team, they put on a horse show. That's what helps fund their tennis team. Look at what Cascade does through the War Trace Horse Show, and they had another horse show, the Champions Show, that was the Celebration Ground that Marcy Allison put on, just that are funded it. I went to Arab, Alabama. One of your judges, Jamie Bradshaw, they put on a horse show down there to fund their football team and their quarterback club.
Okay,
and, it's really cool. It's awesome to see that what the work you do one night is something that just gives back all year long.
And I don't want to leave you other states out of there. There are walking horse shows around the country. It's just most of them are in the Southeast, but we certainly have horses all the way from California and everywhere else. So, and horses but giving back to the community is such a good point in the nonprofits. I'm glad you mentioned that. I said that already, Mark, but a lot of folks that aren't that familiar with this industry and this breed don't understand that, and it's a huge thing, especially here in our local community.
When you think about it, I mean, the Tennessee walking horse breed, estimates are that we're responsible for about 20,000 jobs and about $3.2 billion pumped into the economy nationwide. And that's a pretty big business in my book.
That's more than $1 or $2.
Yeah, and when you think about,
that's a large industry.
Yeah, but when you think about that, it's still the backbone of it is still these one night shows and these small time breeders and stuff like that. No matter how big the training operations and how big the owners are, it all starts with whoever breeds those horses. And and it's the majority of them are these small time breeders that they're doing it all over the country.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to talk about on TWHBEA there, Mark?
No, I mean it's like the celebration, all of our numbers are up. I said our membership's up. 2,797 new foals were registered last year, added to our rolls, which is about, if you compare it to different breeds, that's about, we fluctuate between number 3 and number 4 in the nation in terms of new foal registrations and transfers.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, now total stallions bred, we're right up there. And growth year over year, we're up there. So we're doing well.
Outstanding. And of course, as you mentioned, the celebration, all of our metrics out there, the things that we look at, a measure of potential success for a show, they're all up. Some of them are at a 15 year high, and it looks like you guys are at a 5-year high.
Yeah, at least on memberships.
On memberships,
right.
And doing that. So and I know you guys are great partners with Celebration out here on making things happen. And we're basically out of time, Mark. I'll give you one more shot at it before we go off the air.
Well, any of this I've talked about, of course, people can go to our website, TWHBEA.com.
Okay.
We also have a website called My Best Friend TWH. So My Best Friend TWH.com. You can go there, and it's got a lot of these stats, but also some feature stories on people and their best friends, which are the walking horses, and all the different things they do with them. So, I mean, we've just hit the tip of the iceberg talking about, Western dressage and stuff. We didn't even get into like extreme cowboy racing and everything, all the stuff.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that my friend thing, because of course we used to have a couple of horses, and they have personalities. I mean, they're what a great friend to have, and I think folks forget that. But the equine, what a great way to do that. And I know folks appreciate what you all, and you got a great staff over there in Lewisburg.
We're on the celebration grounds every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Our satellite office right there behind the VFW.
Folks, if you want any information from the Tennessee Walking Horse Breeders and Exhibitors Association, stop by that booth out there.
And they'd love to see you.
Right by the VFW booth there. Stop by and talk to them. That's right. And I think you even got a little merchandise or something.
We do.
There? Is that where that...
My nice celebration
looks
polo
like
here came right out of
looks
our
like you got a couple of walking horses and stuff on there.
This is the celebration edition with the tricolored ribbon. And
so those are available at your gift shop?
The gates, yeah.
Okay. All right. I think everybody needs to get one of those.
Yep.
Yeah. And so come on down. Folks, we've been talking to Mark Farrar, the Chief Executive Officer for the Tennessee Walking Horse and Breeders and Exhibitors Association. They do a fantastic job to keep this breed going and to promote this breed, the Tennessee Walking Horse, which is so important here in our local community in Bedford County and, quite frankly, throughout the country, and especially here in the Southeast. So, Mark, thank you for what you and your staff do.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great another 10 nights of the celebration as the announcer.
Yep. If that weather like we had last night holds out, this will be awesome.
Yeah, I'm not putting money on that one, but I hope it does, because as you will recall, I know some of your relatives would have told you back in the day, a lot of folks had to put jackets on to come to the whole show, but not anymore. It gets a little warm out there. But you know what, folks? It's a great family event. The Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration is going on right now at the 104-acre celebration grounds right here in Shelbyville, Tennessee. It's a family event. Come on out. There's a lot of families working nonprofit booths out there selling food and all kind of great stuff. Come up and have a good time. There's a lot of excitement. Come see friends you hadn't seen in a while that are at the celebration, and listen to Mark Farrar announce what's going on in Center Ring.
I'll see you 7 tonight.
See you tonight starting at 7 p.m., 1900 for you military types. Come on out. Folks, this is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting, the only locally owned radio station here in Bedford County. Until next time.